Our question today is HubSpot versus WordPress. What is best for my business? And I think this has become much more relevant in the past year or so. And yeah, I know you have a lot of thoughts. John pioneered our even bounds transition from WordPress to HubSpot, and it's just not to give anything away, but the results have been astounding. So let's jump into it. I want to start with WordPress. So, John, could you kind of break down WordPress, that platform, maybe why people have used it in the past, maybe why people are currently using it?
Yep. I mean, the reason people are currently using it is because some agency told them they should use it. uh, I think that's a common thread. I don't know. What do you think we should build it in? And then they ended up building it on a platform that, whatever. All right. So we're gonna change. Go back. Um, so yes, WordPress is. There's two different. This is a common misunderstanding. There's two different versions of WordPress. There is WordPress.com, which is a blogging platform, which you can go there and create an account and get a blog site up and running. And you can do it for free. There's paid versions of it too, but it's basically like a subscription to create a blog platform. Now they took what powers that system, and that software is what's called open source, meaning like developers from all over the world contribute to the betterment of that platform. And they put the package of site files over at WordPress.org, so you can go there and download that package of site files and put them on a server, and manage your own hosting and manage your own website as a CMS, right? Content management system. So I started monkeying around with those site files and hosting my own files and that whole process back in like 2013, 2014. And I'm very familiar with that system. I can write a custom theme file. I can create a custom plugin if need be. I know that system very well. I think better than most. So that's kind of that. And the other thing that's probably worth noting is WordPress at the time, at 2013, 2014, 2015, in there were a few other players in there like Drupal and Joomla, and there were some other options. WordPress has, in the last 10 years, absolutely like dominated the CMS website framework. Um, you know, I think it's 30 some percent of the internet is built on top of WordPress. So like it is by far the industry standard.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same thing. I don't have the stat offhand, but definitely a powerhouse and one of the most popular platforms for building a website. So that's great. And that's, like we said, Evenbound was on that for a long time since, I mean, you created it back in 2013, that era. So now let's pivot to HubSpot. HubSpot CMS. There was a revamp of HubSpot CMS, I want to say, and a couple years ago. So can you tell people about that and maybe what led you to decide, okay, we need to try this out for ourselves?
Yeah, I'm going to get into a little bit of like HubSpot um, road mapping, like historical product development path, if you will. When we started working with HubSpot 2015, 2016, and there, like it was really a marketing automation platform. And the marketing automation platform, uh, a big section of that was building out landing pages. So when you run campaigns, you could host a landing page that looks kind of like your website, but it was on a domain, and we could track all of the like forms and calls to action, all that stuff in these landing pages. And then they took that functionality and built out what was at the time called a content operating system, which supported the blogging and building a website on HubSpot and some other things. And was, I would say, in fairness, like at the time, limited functionality. About the time that they changed gears and really started developing from crafting a CRM, right? It was really, they built a CRM from the ground up. So when they started doing that, they also uh, basically tore down and rebuilt the HubSpot CMS to evolve from the COS. And so some key differentiators there in that process was like attaching a website CMS system to a CRM, making a CMS system that is open and powerful and accessible to marketers, right? You don't need to go to a developer to make a change on your website, which, especially if it's built in Word, so that whole process is just silly. So giving a marketers access to be able to make changes and updates to a website. In some of the technical elements on the CMS are like it's a self-hosted solution. So you're not battling with software updates and hosting files and speed and reliability issues and things like that. HubSpot takes care of that in the license. And then there's this whole like theme structure. So you can apply a custom theme to the CMS framework, or you can buy a theme from the marketplace and be empowered to build a site on it that way. So those are the kind of the two products and how they've evolved.
Yeah. And so is that what led you to say, okay, Evenbound needs to transition from WordPress and try this updated HubSpot CMS? Like what did that decision look like?
No, that's an awesome question. And I think in speaking to the one, when I talk to people like, oh, we wanted to redo our website. Well, why? Right? Because there has to be like some really good thinking that goes into that. It's such a massive project. Well, before you even start down that path, you need to know why you're doing it, right? If it's just because the old website is stale, like, okay, but like that's a really low impact activity to embark on without a lot of ROI attached to it. Like we just want to refresh the website isn't a, I don't know, that's kind of uninspired in my opinion. For us, there were some key business functions going on. Number one, we had just gone through a rebrand. And so we had some transformational, things happening in the business. And we were like, now is the time to revamp our website, right? And they had launched this newly updated HubSpot CMS product. And it was early days, really early days, but we had been seeing a lot of things that in that product that we really wanted to put into our website. We were trying to align all of our systems and unify everything in one system, rather than have this isolated WordPress website that we had to go make edits to, that was separate from like our HubSpot instance, right? And then the other factor was we really wanted to use the CRM and CMS in one place to build out some custom personalized experiences for the people that were visiting our website. So that entire process became very empowering for us. And we weren't limited and restricted by what was available within WordPress. If anything, it opened up a whole new realm of possibilities when we attached that CMS to our CRM system. So that was kind of that process.
Yeah, and I mean, just talk about powerful getting your CRM and your CMS to work together like that. I think is just awesome. So that I think is great. Explains why we made that decision. But looking to answer the question, which is best for my business, for people listening to this episode, would you say HubSpot? Would you say it depends? Like, what factors would you consider if you were in a different industry or a different company?
I'm gonna answer this question based on what I know about what we did and what the results are, and that is everything that we do here at Edenbud is predicated on that same concept. So like we are not going to recommend that we do some scope of work that we haven't done and field trialed, uh, ourselves to make sure that it does what we want it to do. So just in the practical terms, if you want a website that is attached to your CRM and helps collect and aggregate data. If you want a website that's going to grow and scale over time, if you want a website that is accessible to you as a marketer to be able to go log in to the same place where your CRM is and look at data and make changes to a page based on that and do some testing, A/B testing right within the system. And like, I think it's definitely worth a look, if you're considering WordPress, to look at HubSpot CMS, right? The reality of this is a lot of what we do. I mean, I'm opening up here, maybe even a little more than I should, but like We essentially do just a few things from a marketing standpoint that drives our business outcomes. So one of those things that we do particularly well is inbound marketing. And there's a lot that goes into that, and the website is an essential part of that. When we were clipping along with WordPress a couple of years ago, we were averaging 4,000 or 5,000 visitors a month. In the last 3 months, that traffic has grown to 20,000 plus. Now, when we moved over from WordPress to HubSpot CMS, we essentially made a carbon copy, or we replatformed the existing design and user experience and all that over to this platform with some minor changes. And that's been the rocket ship fueling our growth. Now I don't want to say that the technology behind this has fueled the entire thing, because I honestly feel like it is the combination of the right technology and the right inbound marketing motion and the right people powering all of that that makes that whole system fuel. But if you have some semblance of what I just talked about in your business and you want it to grow and do what ours did, you absolutely should look at CMS. No question.
Agreed. And we, to wrap up, and just an action item for anyone that does want to dive a little deeper, we obviously did this for ourselves for Evenbound, and we wrote a case study on it. It's on our website. It's free. You don't need to give us your email or anything. There's another great video of John talking and explaining some of this stuff. So I'll link that in the show notes, and definitely check that out, because there's a lot more good information in there as well.
Ungated content. Love to see it.
So that's it. That was a ton of really helpful information, John. Thank you for sharing that with us. I think if you are someone listening to this and you are in that situation where you're looking to redo your website and these are two platforms you're considering, I hope this helps you one way or the other. So, John, as always, thanks for jumping on. I know we'll have you again on the podcast for future episodes.
Thanks, Colby.